Hello, hello, hello. Let's try not me. Wait. All right, now let's turn the music down. So today, welcome to the open source stream. I'm Rain Leander, developer advocate with Cockroach Labs. Let's do my name. My name. That's my name. That's my name. Rain Leander, developer advocate with Cockroach Labs, and this is the open source stream where we explore open source projects, basically play with the getting started guides and see if it works. And if it doesn't, if we run into bugs, we file a pull request or an issue, depending on the or depending on how it's done, how to collaborate with that project. Today is a special show. We are working on a CockroachDB sample app. This has been published for about a month. We're gonna do this. I'm just gonna be blocking some stuff very gently. We're gonna build a leaderboard with front end as well as back end. CockroachDB is the back end. We're using Prisma to talk to the database. We're using React and TypeScript for the front end. And even though this was published on the 29th of November, I actually found some pretty big bugs in it. So let's see if we find any bugs today. and I'll fix them right away. So yeah, if you'd like to play along, feel free. Let me post this to our chat. We are exploring today. There. That goes to everywhere except LinkedIn. Actually, let me show LinkedIn some love and post that over on the LinkedIn channel, which I just checked and is successfully streaming today on time. Thank you, LinkedIn, for working today. Feel free to follow along via bam. Okay, there. But then it said failed to post a comment. Why? Feel free. Let's try one more time. Feel free to follow along. LinkedIn, play nice. Bam. Okay. Shall we get started? Do we like the music? Should I delete it? I think it's okay. It's kind of jamming. Soft. Okay, so you will need to download a few things if you are going to play along at home. This is intro tutorial action. This is what we're building, this leaderboard. I'm going to turn. Not sorry. Whole thing is in TypeScript. We're going to use the Create React app to do the admin interface, which is pretty cool, as well as the leaderboard. You're going to need the Node.js. You're going to need Node.js installed on your system. I'm using a Mac, so when you see my terminal, you can be hidden. So when you see my terminal, it's on a Mac. Be that what it may. I will do my best. If you are a Windows developer and have specific questions, feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll see what we can do. You are going to play a little bit with React and you're going to play with JavaScript, TypeScript. That said, you don't need to be an expert on any of these in order to follow this blog post. I tried to make it as inclusive as possible. So again, you run into any bugs, you find any bugs today, we'll fix them. Yeah, So let's get started. Wait, you know what? Have I actually prepped by deleting my old? I've done this project so many times that I might have forgotten to delete the file. Okay, cool. So I definitely, let's get this party started up in here. Okay, cool. So we can actually start. Okay. Let me know if you have it. When are we going to pretty up your terminal? That is a great question. When are we going to put that time aside? When we have enough time? Gauntlet thrown. This is just creating the project. It's creating the CockroachDB-TypeScript folder, and then it's creating a create React app inside that folder using the TypeScript template. npx versus npm means an install versus using a current version within your system. That's a great question, Adrian. I have no idea. This is also when error messages come up. Happy hacking! That's a good sign. Okay, so it's gonna, one of the things I like about this blog post is it specifically gives you directory structures along the way. Like, look in there. You will see. I use the -L to put them in a row. But yeah, I got my stuff. By the way, this is already pushed up online on CockroachDB/CockroachDB-TypeScript. You can even see my original password. That cluster is long since deleted. Yeah. So if you're keen, I'll put this. It'll happen. It will happen, Adrian. But probably not till next year. Oh, I should probably put this in a caption. CockroachDB/CockroachDB-TypeScript. Here we go. That's a very long link. You know what I wish it would do instead of putting a link that you can't really click is if it had a little QR code. You could just stick it. Just saying. Okay, so we know it created that. Pretty much we're going to do everything from here on out from within that directory. So if it doesn't specify where you're supposed to run a command, it's from the base of this project. Okay. Then you're going to create your serverless database. Just in case you've never done this before, let's make that a better size. Go to CockroachLabs.cloud. If this is the first time you've ever logged in, I use login with GitHub. You can also sign up with your own username and password. It just requires a couple more steps of verification. And then we're going to create a cluster. This is for serverless. I tend to just pick the defaults on the cloud provider, the regions, and spend limit. By the way, if you go over your spend limit, as in if you use more than 5 gigabytes or 100 RSUs, then it'll just throttle you. It won't start charging you. And you don't have to put in a credit card to get this going. And then I always change this to Sparkling Kitten because that's where I am in life. So that's my Sparkling Kitten. But it basically just wants you to go ahead and download binaries, download CA certificate. These are things that, by the way, if you have another cluster, you don't need to re-download their certificates. Oh, that's a great question. So you can totally use local instance. CockroachDB is available as an open source binary to download and whatnot. There's just a couple more steps involved, and the cloud instance is just easier. The other option in that was the dedicated, and I'll show you again. Wait, just kidding. Get over here. I was trying to open a new browser. I wonder if it'll let me while I have the product. Yeah. So if I were the other option besides the plan, serverless is free forever with 250 million request units, 5 gig, but the dedicated actually costs quite a bit of money from within here. You can go directly to GitHub, CockroachDB, and Cockroach? Yes. And this is it's not exactly open source, it's open core. And that means that every 3 years they release the major, they change the license on the major release from a business license, which you cannot use for business purposes, to a open source license. So that's why we're not using that's why we're using serverless as opposed to the local installation. But great question, thank you. Java Dabadoo. That's a great title. You're making magic stuff, aren't you? I totally do need to branch out. Yes, thank you. All right, but back to our app. I'm sorry, that's assuming a lot of genders. Okay, so back. Focus, Leander. So because I've done this so much, I'm not downloading this binary, and I'll tell you why. When you're using GitHub Desktop, which is what I use to push my stuff up to my GitHub repo, it doesn't like things over, it has a size limiter of like 1 meg, and this binary is like 1.1 meg or 1.2. It's like just over the limiter. And so it's a huge pain in the butt. And therefore, I figured out in troubleshooting this blog post a million times that you don't actually need to download the binary and the if you have done it before for other things. So I'm not going to download it, but in the instructions, it totally is going to go through doing that. So, and this connection, you can also brew install it. Nice. The more you know. We did that. These are the downloads. Run the first 2 sets of commands to download the client and the CA certificate. Keep the third command accessible. We'll need it in a moment, along with the password we revealed earlier. Little trick, by the way, if you... I know, I'm glad you caught the reference. If you just don't close this page, it'll keep that password cached. I wouldn't recommend that for production, but I also wouldn't recommend serverless for production, but it's great for experimentation, which is what today is. So I'm just going to leave that open. So now we're going to create the database tables and set up Prisma. So you will need to create a directory called database and then a file inside of schema, a file inside of database called schema.sql. And I'm using terminal, but you're welcome to do that however you like. And Vim, I tend to use Vim a lot. I also tend to just stay in the root directory and then like edit files all the way out, because I have totally messed up and run commands yeah, from different places. So I just want you to bring these. This is building out a new database called Leaderboard, and then it creates a table, actually 2 tables within Leaderboard, one called players, one's called player scores, and then it inserts some data into those tables. Now, it does not insert their scores, so that's something that we have to remember to do at the end, which we will. And then remember that connection string from before copy. We just run that string and then -f and then the path to the file, the schema file we just created. And that should give us this output, which lets you know that it actually followed those instructions. Okay, back to here. That's literally what I just said. That's the output. And then this is what we have to do before we do the npx Prisma init, by the way, Adrian. Adrian loves Prisma and Prisma loves Adrian. Is that we need a schema file for Prisma, and it needs to be inside a Prisma directory. So again, did I spell that right? Yes. So this is just a generic, it's telling Prisma we're going to be using the PostgreSQL, and because CockroachDB, uses the Postgres wireframe, it can reference this. Now, one of the things that's coming down the pipeline with Prisma is that they are working on, and we're working on with them, a CockroachDB. I don't know, will it just say CockroachDB? That would be awesome. And then we have to set up this file with this information. And now it can be right in our root directory. I do not recommend doing this for production. But we're doing this for our play. My username is always K. So easy ways to do things. And then let me show you an easier way to get, yes, exactly. Thank you, Adrian. It should technically be in your get ignore. Okay, so going back to this, this is your portal. Go to connection parameters. Again, you'll notice I have not navigated away from this connection info because the first time you navigate away, your password disappears and then you have to manually reset it. But as of right now, it's still there. Oh, and I have Zoe at the end. Nice. So copy. Password. Oops. Host. Did I delete my colon? I totally did. Colon. Port. 26257. And then database, and then you'll notice at the default of the database in here is to end in the default DB. So one of the things you need to do after you paste it in is delete default DB. And the extra period. Wait, is that the right format? Yes. Colon port. Yes. Okay. And then it goes into details about what I just said. Make sure you replace default DB with leaderboard. And then it actually goes in, please don't do this. And then here's where we're going to actually wake it up. Now, you can, you don't have to use these specific versions of Prisma, for example, and whatnot. But what we did is we tried to make the blog post a little bit more, so it won't run into bugs as you use the latest version in the future. And so that's why we have specific, for example, specific Prisma client versions and whatnot in here listed, so that when you run it, hopefully it will work for longer. Even in the course of developing this blog post out in the application and stuff, things were breaking just because Prisma is innovating so quickly. Totally. Fight. So Adrian, what do you want to say about Prisma versus SQLize? I'm just going to step back from that one. Also, I'm going to do this so you can see the commands a little bit better. Hello. Good to see you. Prisma is the new hotness. It seems so. Prisma is, especially since they're specifically working on an integration with us lately. We're pretty happy with Prisma. All right, now knock on wood, this is where that introspecting is where it would fail so many times, and it just went. It worked. Yes! Hey, let's not talk about hats, okay? I fully respect this. You know, you find what works and you stay there, and I love it. This is definitely for people who want to try something new. I get it. You use the tool that works for you. Yep. I mean, that's true for so many things. The best diet is the one that works. The best exercise program is the one that works. The best ORM or IDE or anything else is the one that works for you. 100%. Where were we? This got deep. Okay, so it totally introspected, totally worked. Oh yeah, if you look at the schema Prisma file now, it's got the database in there, which I love. Bam! And now we do MPX Prisma Generate. Adrian. All right, have a good meeting. He's been like, why haven't you done the Prisma Generate yet? This whole time. Yay, and it worked. I'm always happy when things work. All right, now we're going to work with Netlify. So within this, we have 3 Netlify functions, serverless action. And we're going to, well, we'll go into details more about it, but it's basically getting the scores, adding scores, and also getting players. And so one of the first things we need to do is we need to make sure we have a Netlify account, because we're ultimately going to be deploying using Netlify. But you can do this without having a Netlify account, I think. It's been forever since I signed up for Netlify. And then you're doing this within what Netlify, so Prisma needs the schema file within a Prisma directory. Netlify needs the Netlify functions directory structure in order to know where to look. So if you're not, see, that's the thing, is right now you can't. And this is one of the things that we're working on. is that Prisma and CockroachDB are working on a CockroachDB hook, so that yes, you'll be able to use. I don't want to guarantee all of the CockroachDB features, but you'll be able to use a lot more than you are now. We definitely ran into some bugs just in creating this blog post where we were like, it'll be better soon. So great question. Absolutely. I already did that. So now I'm making the netlify. So you need to make the netlify directory first, and then you can make the functions directory inside. And then again, one of the things I do is code, like I don't move into the functions directory to then create my files, because sometimes I get lost. Pretty easy. But I create all the files directly from my base directory, because you're doing so many. Ooh, Adrian's teaching me things. You can create both of them with a -p. P as in paw. Nice to know. Go to Chrome. Okay, there we go. So we're going to create these 3 netlify functions for the leaderboard application, and we're going to start with get scores. And this is what your directory looks like. All right, so first get scores. Man. And I'm using them because I hate myself, but that's okay. Don't judge. Maybe you're an Emacs, maybe you're an IDE person. It's all good. We can still be friends. I got my commands tab. I accidentally included Slack, so it keeps being confused. Okay. So, effectively, this is going to use the Prisma scores find many. Ooh, I do enjoy escape rooms. It's true. I think I used Vim before escape rooms, or before I experienced escape rooms, and I think it was a precursor. Like in the book of my life, they're like, this was indicative that. So it's using the find many, because this is part of what the types of client Prisma generates for us. These are the important bits, in that these 2 parameters. Oh, you know what? Yes. I just found, okay, so what happened, I don't know if you noticed, but when I refreshed the screen, the comma that was right after the includes disappeared. And that tells me that it finally loaded the latest version of this blog post, which I'm hoping doesn't have any bugs and is more likely to not have any bugs, because now I'm nervous about this. I'm gonna repaste this in. We're not gonna get into the joys of what just happened, but let's just say I've been wrestling with Google Docs and Hugo for a while now. Yes. Okay. So that's cool. So basically what it does is, instead of returning a nested object on that's the second person who said it. We're gonna have to do a sequelize Prisma battle. Obviously, this is happening. So to flatten the data so that it's just ID score name, which I love. It goes into more detail in the blog post if you would like to check it out, and has links over to like JSON stringify or BigInt and whatnot. All right, so now we're making the add score function. Which is singular. Yes. I like having music on. And then a bit more of explanation. We're getting to the Git players. Which is plural. Trying to mess with our dyslexia a little bit. It's okay, we can get through this. All right, that's it for Netlify section. Now we're going to do the front end using React Router. So the reason why I work from the base directory and do my files from here is because I ran this command from within Netlify functions. Oh no! You're angry today and you even removed the VS Code from the PC. Dang. No worries, I hear ya. Breathe. I'm sorry you're so angry today. What happened? What happened? Do you want to talk about it? It's just between you, me, and the rest of the internet, and this will be recorded. Just saying. Just saying. I hope you're okay, and I hope whatever it is goes away and is resolved in the most helpful way possible. Whatever that means. Okay. Yeah, there are a bunch of projects. Auto import never works. Never. It never works. It's so true. So, I want to point out a couple of things that it just put in. It just put in this directory and the source directory with that last command. And that is basically the front end. And when we've modified the public index file just slightly, so that it displays just a little bit more prettily, I will say. Nope, don't do that. Mm-mm. I know. It's not very pretty. It's okay. So we are also replacing the app.tsx file from the GitHub repo, and I should totally add that link right there here on GitHub. It's talking about, wait, this. So it's the source app.tsx. And if you click raw, then you can just do a Control A to copy everything. Just kidding. A Control A, a Command A, max. To change that. And by the way, so you don't have to delete that original lines of the file, you can just do the that. And then that. And bam. Let me know if you want a Vim tutorial. I will teach you the 5 whole commands that I know from Vim. Okay, so we replaced the app.tsx, but then we're going to add a leaderboard TSX and an admin TSX. And these are the 2 interfaces for the front side of the database. The leaderboard.tsx is the display, and admin allows you to add new scores. So let's do it. Start with leaderboard.tsx. Ooh, a NeoVim with Lua setup guide. I love it. I'm writing this down. Excuse me. Please hold. I gotta write down a thing. Define full. IDE-like experience. Okay. I got you. All right. With all the bells and whistles, all of them, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's. We are doing this. Okay. All right. Challenge accepted. I say that having not even looked up what Lua is at all, but I promise I will explore. Okay. Leaderboard.tsx. Okay. This is just creating the interface. And then within the leaderboard, it's going to use effect and set leaders. The admin TSX component is nice. Nice. Were you also in Linux, or was that under on the Mac? Forgot everything. That's how it works. That's how it works with all languages. If you don't use them, they go away. My English, by the way, is so poor because I lived in another country where English was not the first language for so long. You don't use it, you lose it. This one is quite long. I have very much streamed past the blog post quite easily. Admin? Admin.tsx. Just making sure. Yes. That would be awesome. Yes, please, Alexander. I would love that. That's awesome. Do it. I get too happy with the keyboard shortcuts. All right, so then this is where it gets fun. This is where it often breaks. So hold your breath, sacrifice the chicken. Now is the time. Login to Netlify. Oh, you know what? I did not make sure that I deleted my old repo. Let me delete that. Hey, it's me. Nope, totally there. All right, we need to delete this first because everything will fail. Specifically, the passwords are wrong. So yeah, this is what it looks like to delete a repository, by the way. Oh, what is my password? Really? Really? Please hold. Here's my password. I swear I don't have it written down. All right, are you going to show my password? Okay, cool. Ta-da! There we go. It's a long password. Okay, so that's deleted. I'm going to push this repository up to my personal repository using GitHub Desktop. There are many ways to do this, including command line. You could just copy and paste your file. That would be a bit of a pain because it's kind of a big project. But I found GitHub Desktop is nice. Yes. Yeah, like, so it mostly works as passwordless, and you can just put in your fingerprint, but every, like, once a month, it's like, give me your original password. And I'm like, okay, I'll look it up. I'm not even sure I can make this much bigger, but it is currently pointed to the repository that I just created, because I've been creating that same repository in the same location over and over again. So it already knows that, but you would basically go to the repository that you wanted to initialize locally. And then this is my initial push, commit to master, publish the repository. If I was putting it into an organization, I would select the organization, but I'm putting this into my personal repository, so it's not an org. And yeah, TypeScript, React, Prisma. What else are we using on here? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Sample app, something like that. I know. I'm totally using them, and then I use interface GUI for this. Forget. I know. I'm such an enigma. It's not fair. Oh, I totally made that private on accident. Okay. So yes. Wait. Boop. Yes. And I need to change this to public. Wait. I'm like moving too fast for it. Okay, slowly scrolling down to the private. Come on, you can do it. Change visibility. Make public. I know I should do everything command line, or I should do everything GUI. I realize this. No, I'm just showing my, I'm just showing where I learned stuff. Okay, so add a new site, import an existing project from GitHub. This all, by the way, is in the blog post. CockroachDB. Dash TypeScript. You can tell that I've been working on this blog post a lot lately. Oh, I thought it would have done Instead of doing master as default, it should have done main as default. Maybe that's in the GitHub GUI or the desktop GUI. That's okay. So here's one of the things that is super important. And by super important, I mean this is where my bug usually creeps in, and I haven't figured out how to troubleshoot it not online yet. Is that if you do the next step before it finishes deploying, it sometimes breaks. It consistently has broken my system. So I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna turn the music up, and we're gonna have a dance party until it finishes deploying. We're just gonna wait. We're just gonna wait. We're just waiting. Of course it's done. Of course it's done. So here's, by the way, things to look for in Netlify. Oh, I could have put Netlify. This little square gives you a preview of your site. So right now, if I were to click on it, it would be broken. Ta-da! And part of the reason it's broken is because we haven't defined that environment variable within Netlify. So build and deploy, environment, edit variables. And this is going to be the same as this. So literally the database URL is going to be the left side, and the value is going to be this whole long string. Then save. Now, once you've done this, it doesn't automatically grab that environment. So you need to re-trigger the deployment, which is up here, deploys, trigger, deploy. Now, this is where my bug comes up, and adding that doesn't work. And so we'll see if it actually works or not. And I'm not nervous at all. Not nervous at all. I'm not gonna cry online. It's just fine. Just fine. This is fine. Okay. Site is live. Let's go back to it. Excuse me. And you can tell it worked because it actually has a preview. I'm gonna cry. No! It sort of worked. It was a tease. It did not work. Okay, so sometimes you need to go in and add the admin page, which I don't even know. Yeah. Okay, so it's still broken. Go me. So I have some work to do on the blog still, because if I follow the Google Doc, all this works. I'm not upset. But I'm upset. I'm upset. If I'm honest, I'm upset. So our admin, wait, actually, maybe it needs this. No. No, it's just pissed. So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to go fix this blog post. And it's 4 o'clock right now, Eastern time. By 5 o'clock Eastern time, this will work. And I will publish the changes. I know, well, you missed everything, obviously. I broke the site, and it doesn't work. And I have to fix it again. But it will be fixed. And I will make this happen. By hook or by crook, because we want all the bells and whistles. But yeah, yes, the environments are on Netlify. Great question. From within site settings, if you go to build and deploy, you know what? I tell you what, Bok Joe. This is the environment variable. From here. So yes, great question. But if anyone, actually, I'll leave it open. If anyone else would like to troubleshoot, I'm here for it. I would love to know why my Google Doc version works and my published Hugo Doc does not work. It's probably a comma somewhere or a dash being turned into that weird big thick dash that, yeah. Yeah, well, you got to get in there, haven't you? Yeah. Didn't even update the certs. I think if it's been months, was it since the serverless launch? Because we've had an entire minor release since then. But yeah. All right, I'm flipping the table. I'm going to recreate it. Bok Joe's going to recreate it as well. Recreate the certs, probably not the blog post. That blog post is live. If you figure something out in the next hour, in less than the next hour, at me on Twitter. I'm at RainLeander. Yeah, how frustrating. I'm not mad. Okay, I'm mad. But I'm gonna fix it. I think. I hope. We're gonna get this working. Damn it. Not that. All right, and this also goes into details that I had. So push your repository up, new site from Git, add the database variable, environment. This is how you add it. Add the connection string that we set up via Prisma schema, and then and then re-trigger the deployment. You know what, though? There's one more thing we could do. I could tell it to delete cache on the redeploy. Because right now we're just doing deploy site, but maybe we should clear cache and deploy site. I don't think so, but it's worth trying. I don't have a lot of hope, y'all, though. I feel I would really like some chocolate right now. Just saying. Yeah. Oh, the search doesn't find the blog post, or the search doesn't find this particular bug. Ah, good. We're gonna fix this. All right. You know, before it only said the title and the slug are different. Yeah. Thank you. See, this is throwing me off. It normally, when it has this as the preview, that means that it works. I've never had it do this where it blanked out. One of the other things I do is inspect the element to see if I have an error somewhere. Ooh, it doesn't like the leaderboard TSX. Oh, and it doesn't like the get scores. Do you see that? Failed to load the resource. The server responded with a 502 on the function's get scores. Okay, so we've got two things. Let's see if we can fix this. Let me just turn this down. We're gonna hack on things. We're gonna hack until we're back. Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, so it doesn't like get scores. I'm gonna go over to the OG Google Doc. I'm forgetting there's just a little detail in this thing. Get scores. I got you. I could have sworn that I literally updated get scores just today. That's cool. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's what I want to do. Okay, and then it also doesn't like my leaderboard. So again, I'm going to copy directly from the OG. I'm betting there's a page break messing up between Hugo and Google Docs. And that sucks. Did I misspell it? No. Wait, what did it just do? Yeah, I thought so. Don't do that. There we go. Okay. That's it. It's referencing the leaderboard TSX. It's referencing the get scores. That is all I see as a problem. It's even screaming at me down here. Good to know. Okay. Oh! It's a great question. It's called Netlify. And they're both there. I need syntax highlighting. C. Agreed. 100%. Nope. It's a great suggestion. I love it. There's way too many mistakes that could happen from like manually copying and pasting over. I agree with that. 100%. Okay. I should just be able to, wait, why isn't it recognizing that I changed files locally? There were a ton of local changes that were different. Why? Why do? Okay, this is why GitHub and I don't get along. You had a ton. You want me to do this manually? It is not. It is not. Oh, it's saying that the files that I changed were exactly the same as the ones online. That's what it's saying. So even though I edited them, I know, GitHub did it by default. I know. Yes, sir. Okay. Nope, not over there. Let's do this online. By the way, if you mess up, and where's my local? There it is. Settings. I feel like it's somewhere in here. There we go. Wait. No, they're just instructions. Where are the instructions? Fine. Where are the instructions? So here's a great question. So Bokja is like, why does it run locally? And one of the reasons this is a little bit difficult is that you have to deploy to Netlify first before it runs locally because of the Netlify functions. Now it might work. I think it's just Netlify Dev, which I have in here. Yeah, Netlify Dev. Okay, so it might. Let's see if it runs locally. Bam. So that's what it's supposed to look like. We know it's running fine on locally. I'm just going to add the scores really quick. So you can see what the finished product looks like. Okay. Oh, it's lowercase. So this is what it looks like. Locally, we updated our CockroachDB database. So technically now this preview would also, if it was showing. So it's something between Netlify and, well, it's something on the platform because it works locally. Now, please hold while I rename my branch because I've done this before, I swear. Seriously? Yes. Yeah, the .env is supposed to be, yes. And we did this, yes. So it's right here. Wait, let me close things down. So within Netlify, because it ignores the .env, even though it went over and used the GitHub, the .env is ignored. That's why you have to update your environment and edit the variables here. So this is my connect script pasted from the .env. So yeah, that's where it works up. And I'm frustrated because I've been looking at this Google Doc and the Hugo published blog post for a while. There are no messages within Netlify, but if you look at the if you inspect it, inspect it. Yeah, it's still pissed at the get scores and the leaderboard, which I have no explanation. It does make sense that the get scores Oh, thank you. It also works if you do a control click. Usually. There it goes. See? It's a problem with a function. It's a problem with the get scores function, sort of. Although when we copied and pasted from the working log to here, go to Netlify. Go to functions. Oh, yes. This will Netlify functions. Click on that function, get scores. Adrian's saying this very quickly. Change from latest to something else. Last hour. Ooh. Errors. Please run Prisma Generate. So does it want me to run Prisma Generate? Like, I would think that would run automatically. And try to import it again. So do I run Prisma? Oh, I do not have a Netlify toml. All right, fine. Just a sec. Go to your package.json. Whoa. It's the version of Prisma? Whoops. Hello, love.
Here I come to save the day. Okay.
Adrian, I'm away. Oh my gosh, that works really well.
What is all this?
Adrian, I'm away. You need headphones too.
What is all this?
Wow. 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 That was a lot. That was a lot. Way to make an entrance though, right? What an entrance. Can I hear you now though? Say hello. I don't trust it. Oh, you're still.
Okay, that was weird. I muted, and it was
Okay.
still like echoing. Can you hear me?
Okay, that was weird. Yes, but I can also hear.
Still like echoing.
Yeah, that.
Can you hear me?
Okay, that was weird. Yes, but I can also hear.
Still like echoing.
Yeah, that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but I can also hear. Magic. Oh, and it's even looping. Do you have me playing in another tab? Oh, and it's even looping. Do you have me playing in another? Yeah, there it is.
Haha, that's what it is. I didn't close your stream. Anyway,
Hi.
so what we can do is, if you see, it's probably using, it is the matrix. It's probably using this build script. By default, I was in a different meeting, so I didn't watch you set up that part. So it's probably running npm run build. So what we can do is at the beginning of that that script, so right before React scripts build,
Got it.
we're going to add Prisma Generate space ampersand space. And while we're in here, I'm see if I can find it. Okay, and then we're going to have to add a dev dependency as well.
Do you want it to?
So in the build script.
So at the end of this.
So right at the beginning. Nope, we're not adding a line. We're gonna update the build.
Oh, okay.
So at the beginning of it. So type Prisma space generate.
And then ampersand.
Yeah, but you need to have some spaces in there.
Yeah.
And so what that's going to do is whenever Netlify runs build, it's going to first generate
from Prisma.
And then it's going to run the React scripts build. So the other thing we need to do, so go ahead and save and exit out of this. And we're going to do npm install dash capital D space Prisma. And so what we're doing is we're installing Prisma as a dev dependency. So that way the CLI has access to that command.
Nice. This is totally the matrix.
So this is what this is one of the things I brought up in the document, and they're like, "Oh no, you don't need it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
You kind of
I still do it, but okay. And so now you should be able to push these changes up, and then Netlify will rebuild, and hopefully that function will work now.
Why does it think it changed 116 files?
Is it trying to upload? Is it trying to push the the node modules?
Maybe.
Where is your .getignore?
Oh, it's not. That's it. There is none. So.
So what you did earlier was you pushed up all your your node modules files to GitHub, which is not recommended. We can fix that. But you probably also pushed up your .m file unless you didn't check that in.
Nope. Everything was checked in.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
We can fix that.
Yeah.
We can just add a .getignore and then we can use git remove, I believe, to remove it from being tracked. But this should be enough that it will at least get the application working.
So at this point, I then just to verify.
So if you hit the little back on functions, you can get to the deploy and see it deploying.
But that I swear it used to be as easy as changing something on this page to change it from master to main.
Oh, you know what? If you like Google GitHub master to main, like GitHub has a
I know, but look at all this crap.
What?
Or that?
Like, well, GitHub has like a specific document for telling you how to fix it, because you might also need to put a setting in your Git config, like that's on your local machine, so it knows. But I thought that with the newer versions of Git, they like just defaulted it to main. Like,
yes, exactly. Like, I'm completely confused why it showed up as master.
I don't
Like,
know.
I think that's the GitHub desktop that did that, because
Oh, see, I don't use GitHub desktop.
Yeah,
It wasn't
I'm
an option when I
shocked.
started using Git.
Yeah, I know.
There also GitHub wasn't an option when I started using Git. I used a website called Unfuddle.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, do we need to poke it to redeploy it?
Well, wait. At 4, did it say today at 4:20?
So that's
Oh my God, too many
hilarious.
files. Okay, so that looks like your latest commit.
That is the thing.
But it doesn't say published. Hit refresh. Sometimes I find that like that doesn't switch.
Hey, buddy. Excellent.
Great.
Cool.
Okay, so it does say published. So now you can just refresh your other page or click on that link or however you like to do it.
Great.
Booyah!
Oh my gosh, seriously. Okay, so what did we do
did
exactly?
We did it.
I see, but I don't know. Okay, so yay, first of all.
Sure.
But I don't know what we did differently from what I have in the original, because I did not do the npm install Prisma.
So this is the part, if you actually look at the Prisma documents,
yeah.
Ooh, as a pre-build step, that could also work. The solution that we're using is the solution that's in the Prisma documents. And so whenever you're like, I want to deploy Prisma to Netlify, this is kind of the steps that it tells you. You might actually be able to do it as a pre-build step, yeah. And so it's just, instead of being the ampersand, then it's a different script name.
Then it would have run up ahead.
But also you needed to install Prisma as a dev dependency for that to be able to work. So what we're finding out is that Prisma Generate doesn't run by default. Or
by default.
I wonder if you had Prisma as a dev dependency, if it would have just automatically tried to do it, right? So if you didn't need to put it as part of the build command, but it would like maybe try to do it during deploy, and it was like, there is no Prisma command, so we're just going to skip it.
And we do run Prisma Generate. It's just it's before.
So you run it locally, and what it does is it updates files inside of your node modules, and the deploy does not use your node modules. It does its own npm install.
Yep.
Prisma Generate, what it does is it generates all of the type bindings for the client. Migration is pushing the model or syncing up the model with the database.
Okay, so after we deploy, we also need to, or after we deploy to Netlify, you can then run Netlify dev and it runs locally. But in order for it to run upstream, you need to change that line on the file, which I'll put in the blog post. And then you also need to install npm blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Locally. Wait, do you need to do that locally, or because
do you need to do what?
Sorry, great question. Can't you read my mind?
The dev dependency, it needs to be there for the build process. The way that we handle it locally is we can use npx. So we can say npx Prisma Generate, npx Prisma DB pool. Yeah. Hi, bud.
Hi, Atticus. Poppers. So really, all that we needed to do for Netlify is change the build script.
Yeah, so it's because you don't have a netlify.toml, it's probably using the default ones, or at some point you created an app for Netlify. I think you did that with the
I believe
CLI.
it. 100%.
Okay. And so you put in the build command there, and so it knew to just like run npm run build, like that's its build command.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we augmented that command by telling it to first run the Prisma Generate.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That is not in the Google Doc. So
You'll probably see a
somehow
comment
hacked.
that I made about that.
Yeah. Noted. Okay, well,
Okay.
this has been an open source stream. And special thanks to Atticus and to Adrian and to Bakjo and hey buddy. Aw, he wants
I know
you to
he can't
throw
hear
the
you because
sock.
I have the headphones on.
I know. Throw the sock, damn it. And I want to say Alexander was on here too earlier, and we had some anonymous LinkedIn people. Love you, but I can't see you on LinkedIn unless you specifically give those permissions.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good session. I hope you enjoyed it. And I have a challenge to do a full NeoVim with Luau setup with all the bells and whistles, including.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we'll see. No guarantee, but maybe it's a Christmas present.
I'm going to continue to use VS Code. That's how I roll. I can use Vim in a pinch if I need to, but
reach their own.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we dance it out, Adrian?
You got any music for us?
I got music. Thank you, Bakjo. Thanks for joining us today. As usual, we will not as usual at all. We will not be here for the next 2 weeks, I think it is.
I will be here tomorrow.
Christmas. Adrian will be here tomorrow. I always do this. Adrian will be here tomorrow, probably working on Dusty domains, right?
Yep.
Now that music is super loud. Thursday, we totally do. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon, I'm sure. Take care, everybody.
Bye.